How many of these are you planning to do with everyone?
One a month.
Ooh, look at you.
I'll tell you my vision after that.
Uh-oh.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about wedding connections and wedding connections when it comes to people. But today I have with me Lisa Powers from CJC Events, and we're going to talk about a few things coming up in the wedding industry with trends and fads and bridal shows and magazines and all that other stuff. So Lisa, her and I, we had this conversation before with how many years we've known each other. And
Many.
2017 is when you and I had met, and I've gone to a couple of the bridal shows before that to kind of like scope it out, do a little recon, figuring out what other people were doing. And then I called up Lisa and I was like, you know what? I need to have a one-on-one conversation, because for those of you who don't know who, yes, this is Lisa Powers. I was concerned about presence and what I would look like. And for those of you who don't know who Lisa is, Lisa has her finger on the pulse of the wedding industry. And I've said this ever since I've met her, because if something's happening in the wedding industry as far as trends or fads, or if you need a connection where you need a tent, if you need this, you need that, she's like the hub of everything that is wedding related when it comes to that. So her and I just had the conversation, and we sat down and I was like, hey, you know, what would I do? And she was just very honest with what I needed to do as far as a photographer, is making sure my display was up to date, having your own pictures, having your pictures in your books and your display. And it wasn't necessarily about all of the bling. I was concerned about what everything looked around me in my booth. What if I don't have this? What if I don't have that? I didn't want to show up with a folding chair and a table. So as I built myself up, display was the biggest part of that. So we went to Panera's and we had this conversation, and we just talked about everything that was happening, and that was 2017, and here we are in
look where we are now.
And look where we are now. Just like how much time has changed in the industry itself. I feel like the industry has changed. Trends always change, but the industry has changed, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. So what is one thing or two things that you've seen different from what weddings used to look like in 2017 compared to what they look like now? Do you think they're bigger? Do you think they're smaller? Do you think they're...
I really think that brides and grooms, engaged couples, they just want to put their stamp on their own wedding. Mm-hmm. So they've kind of flushed some traditions versus keeping traditions. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of personal parties where they have, their style is on everything, from the color to what you're drinking to what you're eating. And then we have other ones that just want to get together and have a great time, and they're not so particular over that kind of thing.
I'm noticing that also.
They really want to get good wedding professionals to capture those memories and have a great party. First
and foremost, I feel like, I want to be careful how I say this, but you've been in the industry as long as you have.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about the 20-year anniversary of the bridal show coming up in the fall, so stay tuned for that. But 20 years, how has the vendors changed? A lot of, I want to call them OGs, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
No.
But I do feel like a lot of the older generation, the people that either didn't transition from film to digital, or couldn't transition from film to digital, or wouldn't transition from film to digital. How has the vendor face changed in just, not even the last 20 years, but just in the last 10 years?
Technology. If you don't grab some of that, then you will be left behind. But I'm also seeing old technology, old trend come back. Black and white photography.
Black and white. Film. Film is really starting to make a stamp on that.
We're seeing a lot of trends of that come back. And it's always kind of, I find Western New England to be its own little city, if you want to say that.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Like a city within a city.
Yeah, we don't follow a lot of trends from other places, and it takes a while for those trends to get here.
I agree with that.
We see, like, years ago, it was the vineyard wedding in California, and that vibe and that outside experience. It's getting here. We see a lot more tent weddings. We see a lot more vineyard weddings.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Yeah.
And not to say that we grab on new trends or anything, but I think we make it our own. And I think that the collaboration of all these great vendors makes a wedding phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Whether you're in your backyard or on a mountaintop or in a ballroom, whatever, it's the experience that those people are bringing to the table that can make the vision come alive for that couple.
Make the vision for that couple come alive. And every vision for every couple is
because
different.
there's Instagram and Pinterest and every social media aspect. Now, it's nice to like follow some of these trends, but I don't think you need to pack everything into one day.
Pick the best part of what the trend is that you like to do.
That says you are, who you are, what your style is.
The most like you.
Are you family? Then you're just going to invite a lot of family. Do you want this big ballroom event? Well, yeah, there'll be more people.
That's a great point.
It's what you want personally. Yeah. And that's where I think weddings are going. Yeah. I'm hoping that one of the trends that we see walk away a little bit is Pinterest and all of that stuff, where you have this vision and, oh, I got this off the Pinterest page, and you walk into a vendor and say, I want this to look like this. Yeah. But they have no idea what it takes, how much it costs, how feasible it is to even accomplish, and whether it's even in their budget. Yeah. And so that's a learning experience that I think that all of these experienced wedding professionals bring to the table. They can say, look, we can do this for this price, but we can't do that because that just blows your budget. Let's rethink this.
Can that vendor, let's say you went to a venue and you saw this beautiful uplighting and all this stuff and all the draperies and things like that, and you went to the venue and said, hey, can you do this? Or a photographer, and you go there and say, hey, can you do this? Can the venue accommodate your vision? So if you've already booked the venue, you're kind of stuck with the limitations of what the venue can do.
Ask those questions before you put your deposit
100%.
down.
If you've got a vision for photography and these are certain things you want to do, you better make sure that photographer can do that before you sign the dotted line with him. Otherwise, he'll do a great job, but you're going to be disappointed because your vision was different than what.
Right.
I also have seen in the past 10 years, there is a lot more vineyards now. You mentioned vineyards before, and there's a lot more breweries now. Yes. So now people are starting to get into the breweries for their weddings and the vineyards for their weddings. On a vineyard, lots of grapes and trees and fields, and that's beautiful stuff. And then venues for breweries are also now getting into the mix now that they're bringing their own beer along and things like that. So that has changed in the past 10 years. It's not just the big
trucks, accommodating all of those.
All that stuff.
When you're picking those locations, you have to make sure that they can accommodate what you want. Yeah. How many bathrooms are you going to need? Is it handicap
we just talked
accessible?
About bathrooms. Yeah, handicap accessible.
You can have a great venue, but if your grandmother can't manage to get there, then why?
100%.
You want her to include her, but you can't get her there, then
100%.
You got to think about all those little details.
You have to.
And if you don't ask those questions, I'm always make a list and ask your questions. Yeah. Because if you have a vision and you've put the deposit down and then find out that it's not handicap accessible, how many guests are you going to have to leave off your list that have accommodations that you need to be worried about?
Or if the wedding site is not handicap accessible, but the venue is. Do you want grandma and grandpa not coming to your ceremony? That's a huge part of that. That's a really huge part of that. So, all right, I want to talk about, let's see, what else did we talk about? I want to start with August 29th, 2024. Yep. Veils and cocktails. This is something that you did about 4 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, we had the interruption with COVID. Okay. We've done it every other year. This will be the third one.
Got it.
We do every other year. Yeah. COVID made the interruption, but we're back. Yeah. August 29th, starting at 6 o'clock, is Veils and Cocktails at the Boylston Room.
At the Boylston Room in Easthampton, Massachusetts. And it's free, by the way. So tell me and the viewers about what exactly it is. You come in, what they get, and just tell me every part of that.
We call it the schmoozy event because you can grab a veil, you'll get a veil, and you can walk down our aisle. Yes.
Got it.
And we have a great aisle set up with
Who is this open to now?
Engaged couples.
Engaged couples.
Wedding parties, bring your mom. Anyone that's looking for inspiration.
What else can they bring?
Their mom.
What else?
Oh, dad. You want dads to come too?
What else?
Yeah, their dog.
You can bring wait a minute. Well-behaved dogs.
We know that dogs are part of the family.
Yeah.
And a lot of venues do not allow you to bring your pet.
Yeah.
But we see it as a trend that, they'll have someone bring the dog to and from the venue for the walk down the aisle and all of this and the pictures, which you want to make sure, hey, this dog has been my life here. The Boylston Room is one of the few venues that allows a dog to be a very well-behaved dog.
Well-behaved dog.
In a wedding party at the venue. And
so they get a veil, they walk down the aisle.
They walk down the aisle.
What else is in the room? How is this
we're
set
going to
up?
have a great photo booth with the DJ.
That's right.
So after you walk down the aisle, you have your veil on. You drop your raffle ticket in the little barrel there. And then you move to the right and you get your pictures taken through the number of photo booth opportunities with your veil on. It'll be social media tagged. You'll be able to get a copy. It's just going to be fun.
Nice.
And then you're going to move around the room as if you were meeting guests and seeing things. There's going to be some great vendors there. Flowers and photography and food and cocktails and mocktails and cornhole on the patio. We're going to be doing a lot of different things, and we're going to have like a dance type of lesson going on.
Oh, dances also?
We have in the other we have 2 rooms. We're going to move through. So the first room is to get your veil and get acquainted, and then we're going to go into you can go into the patio and enjoy a cocktail and whatever on the patio. Play a little cornhole if you want.
Yeah.
Then we're going to move on to the big main room where they have the bar set up, and they're going to talk about the drinks that they offer and signature drinks, which are still a thing.
Yeah.
And just get to meet some vendors, see some dresses and flowers, and just kind of get a feel. Very comfortable, very schmoozy, friendly atmosphere. And the Boylston Room is like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
So they have lots of pieces that they can recommend.
Yeah.
And then again, you can bring in your own pieces.
Yeah.
So they're very on to what you want.
Yeah.
And their staff is amazing.
Yeah.
And so from there, we're going to do a fashion show. We're going to do a nice, simple, up close, because a lot of the dresses that we're offering have a lot of detail, and they do dual purpose. So we want people to get a nice up close look at them rather than being on a huge runway, but we want them to get that personal look and be able to ask questions as things are going.
Yeah. How does it feel? Is this heavy? Is it light? Things like that.
Exactly. I mean, how easy is to put this on?
Yeah.
Is it comfortable to wear? Do you need a veil? Not need a veil? Don't be afraid to ask questions, especially if you're just starting on the process of figuring out what you want.
Yeah.
So you can ask those questions, and everyone will be, on hand to help you, and the experts will be there. Yeah. And it's just going to be a nice, comfortable, schmoozy event. So
I love it.
Looking forward to it.
I love it. So August 29th, 6 to 9 p.m., Boylston Room in Easthampton, Massachusetts is going to be there, and the tickets are free for all engaged couples. So next thing we're going to talk about is 20-year anniversary for the Fall Bridal Show coming up November 3rd, 2024 at the MassMutual Center. All the description is going to be down below for both of the events. But this is now 20 years.
20 years.
20 years of shows. And how have you seen this evolve from back when it first started to what it is now?
Wow, that's a great question. I see a lot of new vendors.
I was just going to say, yeah, for sure.
A lot of creativity, a lot of eye-catching things.
Stunning. Yeah, 100%. Yep.
In comparison, the Veils and Cocktails is Smile and Schmoozy, and the November Western New England Bridal Show is big and kind of, I don't want to say loud, but it's just jump in and have a good time.
Yeah, and this is what I love about what Lisa does is she's so Western Mass focused that there's other shows that promote and they come in and then they go back home and there's not really a connection to the Western Mass other than just using a building in Western Massachusetts. she bleeds Western Mass. She bleeds for these wedding couples, and I cannot emphasize enough how much I appreciate her and her insight and her advice and her encouragement and
thank you.
her way of just saying, if this isn't working, what can you do to change this? Hey, how about this? But this has evolved into so much that this is so Western Mass focused that the vendors in Western Mass and the brides and grooms and the wedding couples come to Western Mass and they get this. We live here. We breathe here. We eat here.
I'm not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. So this is so Western Mass based. It's amazing. So tell me about the bridal show that's coming up. There's something that's coming back. So tell me about the bridal show coming up, and then you can
touch
drop
on
it
that
in
one. Well, I mean, we're really community here.
100%.
And what I really love about it is that nobody's, talking down on anyone or anything or any. You got a problem, you got an issue, vendors help vendors, which is so different from many other areas. And we're all community, so it's like referrals and conversation and everything just freely flows without that. And if I'm not a wedding planner, I'm more the connector.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I mean, if someone has an issue, they can't find something, they don't know where to get a kilt from, whatever the question may be, I can find that person and direct them to, which is why I brought the bridal show together and why I think we've had 20 years of great shows, because we've kind of moved with the trends, even sticking through COVID when you can't get near anybody. We've tried to figure that all out. And I think that just shows the resilience of wedding professionals in this area. A few people have decided to retire, but that also makes room for new, creative, young minds, energetic, I can do this attitude, which is what the wedding industry is all about. Moving forward, finding the best, your best foot forward. And helping the client achieve what they want. And that's what I see. And if someone is, hey, I did the show, but I need some help. Which I think we had that great discussion about what people look for in a display and how you should greet them and talk to them and ask them the questions. It's all about the wedding. It's not about you. Yes, it's nice what you bring to the table and your expertise and everything.
How can that fit to your day?
Right. So, I mean, it has to be like a meeting of the minds kind of thing, because if you're not the right fit, then it's going to be uncomfortable and maybe you'll miss the mark of what they're looking for. So conversation is huge.
Got it.
So when they come here, have your list, have things that you're looking for, and be open-minded to maybe some things that you didn't expect. Because that's really what the show's all about. We bring a lot of things in that are like new, maybe trends. And it's like, well, maybe I don't need that now, but I could use that later. Or you just take some information and just have a good time. Experience the photo booths, do all kinds of things. There's great food and great cake and all kinds of fun things to do at a show. So come and plan to do the day. And it's a bigger show. So,
and it's one day.
It's just one day.
It's one day only. It's one day only. Which I feel like and it's on a Sunday, so a lot of brides and grooms plan for that ahead of time. And then they make a day of it. Bring your wedding party with you. And all the description will be down below about where to get the tickets and everything else like that.
So we're really looking forward to bringing back a lot of things that we started with 20 years ago that maybe COVID interrupted. And businesses have also changed. Staffing is a little harder. Things are a little, I can't say they're back to normal pre-COVID, but they're getting there. So I'm trying to be mindful of what the vendor has to bring to the table to accomplish what they want. And if it's staffing or if it's time or whatever, I'm just trying to make sure that we can do all of the things that we want to do and not make them work harder than they have to.
Now, so what's new going to be coming up with the show this year? So from the beginning, what time it starts at 11 o'clock, what happens from there, and what's the new thing that's going to become added back here, which was not there the last couple of years?
I know it was not there the last couple of years. Brides will be able to get a swag bag at the door.
Nice.
And they can register online and all that good stuff. But as they walk through, they'll be able to vote for their favorite tabletop.
Tabletops now. So those are just centerpieces?
No, they're actually
The whole
tables
table
that
settings?
you would see.
Now,
at a
who
reception
decorates
table.
them?
Our vendors that are
The
in
vendors
the
are going
show.
to separate them. So the
Yep.
brides, as they're walking by, they can vote for any one of the best ones that look inside of there?
We opened it up to theme, style, whatever
Nice.
that the vendor wanted to convey. Maybe
Yeah.
it's a trend, or maybe it's something that, is very popular with their venue.
Yeah.
Place settings, color, linen,
Nice.
arrangements, glasses.
Yeah. And they get
party
to vote on
favors.
that.
They get to vote on their favorite table.
Good.
The table that has the most votes wins a booth for the next show.
Nice.
The vendor wins a booth for the next show. And then we do a drawing out of that winning
Yeah.
container of votes.
Yeah.
So the brides get a chance to win.
Again,
The engaged
good.
couple gets a chance to win something from that too.
Good.
And then, I would love it. We're bringing back the fashion show.
I love it. I heard a rumor about that, and I couldn't say. It's a refreshing time.
Right.
Go ahead. Tell me about the bridal show again.
Well, we're not like other shows. We tend to bring more theatrical pieces.
Okay.
It's the dark side of the room is what we call it.
Yeah.
It has
Because of the lighting. Yep,
and
yep.
music, and it's a lit runway
Yeah.
where we sit down with the shops and all the things that you want to encompass in that, flowers and such. And if they want to do a theme, they're open to do a theme. If they want to do color, they want to do 27 dresses, whatever the opening is that they want to do, the production team, we all work together.
Nice.
And it is like a really good theatrical runway show.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love doing it. And it's different. We have beautiful chairs. Sometimes we have cocktail tables. We do things for the guests.
It's a nice atmosphere on that side. It's a nice atmosphere.
And then we like to include everyone, a lot of the vendors, to bring in some different things and to let us know what they want to show, because it's their business. We want to know what they want to show. And then we just, music, all that good stuff. So, it's about time we brought it back, and I'm looking forward to it. And then, there's always the challenge of how we're going to do this and everything, but it's going to be phenomenal.
I can't wait.
I mean, I can't wait because
just to
I
see
felt
it.
like we were missing it for so long between COVID and not.
But it was understandable why the
working back
piece
up
was
to it.
missing.
Right.
There was a big gap there, but there was a reasons for not being able to do it. And
Right.
now, 20-year anniversage, we're bringing it back.
we're back.
We're bringing it back. I
We're
love
bringing
that.
it
I love
back.
that. So brides can win items when they register. Is there going to be raffles at the end of the bridal show? Okay.
Yes.
So we get to see the.
I get to throw the tickets. Yes.
Let me just tell you ahead of time: if you're not in the room when your name is called, you don't win. You got to be there to win.
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
The vendors enjoy hearing yelling and screaming from the crowd, and the excitement of just being able to win some prizes and
extra prizes.
Follow up on the last hour is really following up with the vendors that they met at the beginning of the day, and they want to make an appointment. They want to book their date.
Say that again.
They want to make an
appointment.
I know, get an appointment.
Before you leave, as you're talking to them.
Well, we're finding, so many days, there's only so many days on the calendar. And a lot of brides tend to like the fall, or they have a certain date in mind. Well, if you don't book your person that you found at the show
that
when you
liked,
found
you
it,
connected with,
then now you're going to plan B and plan C, and you have to maybe start over even. And that's just more of a challenge. So if you like them, then have that conversation and book the meeting.
Book early.
At least you get the meeting in, and you get the details at the meeting. It's worth the time to take the meeting.
So everything in the bridal show is everything wedding related.
Oh yeah. We have
DJs, photographers, photo booths, JPs, so flowers, cakes, cupcakes, photo booth trailer, venues, mobile bars,
ice cream truck, beer truck.
There's a beer truck. Is the fire truck guy coming back? Or is
yes, he
okay.
is.
So beer truck is going to be there. So all these different variety of things that are there.
And
That's
I think-
on a wedding day. It's wedding related. It's in the building.
Like how the vineyards and the tents and all of this are popular.
Yeah.
Food trucks are still going to be popular.
Portable bathrooms?
Portable bathrooms. We're going to have those on hand.
Portable bathrooms are going to be in the
building. We're going to
building.
have a tent in the building. We're going
tent
to
in the
have
building.
rental equipment so that you can plan out what you
Incredible.
like. And you know that people have that expectation of what they want to do. Do they want a venue? Do they want... Well, I mean, we're going to have plenty of venues. So there's a nice variety.
Yep.
All kinds of budgets in mind. We like to have a nice variety of vendors.
Yeah.
Because then that way you don't feel like you have to have this.
Right.
But you can look at it for later.
Yes.
You know, if it fits in your budget and it's something that was unexpected, you can have a meeting. Do it.
Saxophone player.
Oh, God, yeah.
So little things like that. And I always want to encourage brides and grooms, whether you need 15 things for your wedding day, whether you need all of the things for your wedding day, or whether you only need one thing for your wedding day, this is the one-stop shop of Western Massachusetts to come. I don't care if you need one thing or 100 things. This is the rentals. Rentals was another thing. There's going to be a place that rents all kinds of things for your wedding. Whether you need one thing or 100 things, coming to the bridal show will give you the best access to the best people in Western Massachusetts for your day. Then you get to spend the whole day, drinks. There's going to be some food there. The place is going to be open for drinks. Just come in and have a good time and just bring your wedding party. Make a day of it. Make a fun day of event.
We see brides come in with shirts and sashes and all kinds of stuff. So I mean, it's a fun experience, and it's also inspiring and educational because you have to ask questions because they've not planned an event this size ever. Yeah. So you need those questions. Yeah.
Advice.
Exactly.
Advice.
And I think that everyone in the room brings something special that they do to this event. Yeah. Yeah. Whether it's more personal service or a flavor or a style.
A little
whatever.
touch.
Yeah, it is. And then to meet those people personally after being stuck with COVID and doing everything online. Yeah. For photographers, videographers, venues, that's your thing for the whole day. The DJ. Yep. Does he have a good party? Does the dance floor get packed or not? I mean, those are conversations that you need to personally have with those people. And I can't think of a better way to do it than this.
Right here in Western Massachusetts.
And because everybody's here, we all live here, we all support each other, we all work together to give these great couples what they want, this is the best place to go. Because if you're booked, you have people in your back pocket that you can say, well, maybe if you walk across the aisle over there and talk to him, I've worked with him before. Yeah. Or, maybe you need a JP. He's across the aisle. Or a makeup artist. She's over here.
Makeup artists and skincare people are going to be there this year. That's going to be another new thing coming back.
There's a lot of trends that are coming back through.
Even health people. So there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to that. So anything else about the bridal show that you want to touch on?
I just know that we're just going to be having a great time.
It's going to be a great time.
I'm so looking forward to it. And reservations are already coming in from unique vendors. Nice. And I'm trying to cultivate the newer vendors that may be popping up on the radar or I hear good things about. And I'm like, come and join this group of vendors. Yeah. Western Mass is so welcoming to new businesses. There's not a lot of, problems. No,
it's community over competition.
Exactly.
Community over competition.
And so, the mix of what we bring to the show, is great. Yeah. And the conversations that between the vendors even is phenomenal. Yeah. So I can't, you just get inspired, period. Doesn't matter.
All right. 20-year anniversary fall bridal show coming up November 3rd, 2024 at the MassMutual Center. So get your tickets and all the information will be down below. So the next thing we're going to talk about, can we go into it now?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
All right. The Wedding Day Source Book Magazine. This is in print and in online. So all the descriptions are going to be down below. So where did this concept come up? How long have you been doing it? How often is it available? And this is, I think, third revision of the last ones that we've done, stuff like that. But where can we get this? But how did this vision for this, and you print this yourself?
We print
This is
in-house
something you
on
print
demand.
yourself.
So we can, as venues have information, as there's events coming up or whatever, we print on demand. So we tend to pop into other people's events.
Yep.
If they're having an open house or a tasting or a cake tasting or whatever, we'll just show up and meet some people,
Yep.
which is really cool. This is just another extension of great
Yeah.
wedding professionals and information that's available
Yeah.
in print and online to engage couples that are looking. And we talk about trends, we talk about photography,
Yeah.
bridal show. Well, there's bridal show tips.
Planning tips.
We talk about timelines,
Yeah.
which some weddings are real quick and
Yeah.
some are not, but they all have a list of things that you could do.
I'm just flipping through here. A lot of advertisements for dress designers, rentals.
Right.
Some of the people that are going to be at the bridal show are in this book normally. Big spreads of other people.
And we
venues,
love to focus on real New England
desserts,
weddings, which are real couples that have gotten married. And we work with our photographers to feature their unique wedding.
Yeah.
And to showcase the fun that they've had, the trends that yeah, Ron's got to get his thing in there. And then, just personal stuff from these couples that can influence you to look into this or go, hey, I haven't thought about that, or this is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
This is the vendor I need.
Yeah.
Or
this is the vendor I didn't know I needed.
Right, that happens a lot. Real good one, yeah.
That happens a lot.
Definitely. And then, we kind of focus on the trends that are happening here.
Yeah.
Now, what's happening in California or Florida or somewhere else, but that's okay too. I mean, if you can bring that, if that's coming to your wedding, then we kind of want to see it. We want to see what you do with it.
So speaking of trends, let's transition into that.
Oh.
What do you feel like is a trend that is about happening now, about to come into where a lot more people are doing? Any examples of trends that are happening right now?
Well, the rentals are big.
Yeah.
So we've seen plant rentals, pretzel
Yep.
walls.
Yep.
Champagne walls, lots of things that can be interactive, which is fun.
Yep.
And if you rent it, then you don't have to take it home.
Correct.
So that's a great.
Saves time. Saves time for the bride.
Saves money.
Saves time.
You can do a lot of that. Still, the late night bites are always still good because you're sending
That's
people
another nice
on their
little
way
trend.
with
Yep.
a nice sweet treat
Yep.
to whether it's cake or cookies are
Yep.
popular or whatever, and it's kind of in place of the party favor. That's what we've kind of seen. Where,
that's a good point.
It's edible.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go to waste. It's not going to be like something that somebody's not going to use.
Yeah.
They're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So send them home with something really sweet.
How about trends like, do you feel like a lot more people have been or are going to start doing it because it's a trend? The bubbles being done during the ceremony, I've noticed a couple more of those, flowers being thrown, but I'm noticing a lot more sparkler exits and light wand trends.
The sparkler in the cold sparkles, that kind of thing, you really have to check on your vendor.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The venue may not allow
that's a very good point.
that type of
Something that you
type of
want,
thing.
you might have to kind of reposition on where they do it.
Right.
Good point.
But like the lighted
light
wands
wands,
and all that,
Those are
that's
fun.
perfect. Those are easy to do.
Yeah.
They're you don't need somebody's permission.
Yeah.
And
they're inexpensive.
And they're just a fun thing. And of course, when it comes to photography, it's a great exit item
Yep.
or party
Yep.
item or whatever.
Yep.
It works out really well.
Good.
I mean, not to say that the cold sparkle things aren't cool.
Sure.
It's just that every venue, every location seems to have restrictions.
Yeah, restrictions.
So it's just kind of like, okay, what else can I do? What else is out there that we can do?
Any fads or trends that you feel like are on the way out? I feel like bouquet toss is on its way out. Garter belt is on its way out.
Yeah, because I mean that turns into something that you don't need. Whether you saved it for tossing a bouquet. How many people in the women gonna run to catch that?
Correct.
It can be an issue.
Correct. I feel that's a trend going away.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of brides can turn around and give it to the next engaged person or their grandparents.
Give it to their grandmother. Exactly, 100%.
A
mom.
We've seen a lot of that tradition.
I've seen it like where not to call out the oldest person in the room, but like the oldest person in the room, like Aunt Susie, that's
longest married couple.
Longest, that's a perfect example like that.
So I mean, it's nice to
yeah.
avoid the tossing,
the bouquet
and
tossing, the garter
all
belt,
that. And I think people would rather dance.
Yeah.
They would rather have conversations with their guests. They would rather do more things that promote the party than stop everybody from dancing and clear the dance floor. That if that's going to kill a vibe, that's a no-no for the DJ. Yeah, and I think I think the DJ will probably guide you on things that you could incorporate or not.
I'm finding that a trend that I'm noticing now in the past 2 years is a lot more of the brides don't want an open cake cutting announcement. Meaning they still want to cut their cake with their significant other, but they don't want the announcement and the paparazzi of everybody coming over to watch them. Is that something that's new?
I think it's kind of 50-50. I
feel like a lot of people are shy.
If you have a beautiful cake, you've picked the flavor, you spent the money, it's gorgeous, it goes with what you have, then maybe you'd want to pay a little more attention to it.
Good point.
If not, that's okay too, because it's really up to you.
It's more
as long as you, the photographer and the videographer and the DJ all work together to capture that moment. That's all that matters.
And some people I'm noticing that the reasons why they're doing is there's a little bit more self-conscious, or we don't want the attention to be on us. And then I'm like,
it's another vibe-killing interruption.
And that's another thing too. The dance floor can keep going. You sneak the bride and groom, and it's really a preference. It really is. It's completely up to you. Yeah.
You're kind of like, well, I have this beautiful. It can even be a simple 2-tiered cake, because a lot of couples are still doing the cake, but they're not. They're having like dessert tables and sweets and other things, and
finger cupcakes and
the interesting part is that they leave it on a table for guests to take when they feel they want something.
Yeah, good point.
We've seen cakes get cut and then served, and then not eaten.
Yeah.
You know how like the day just starts, the band or DJ starts going and the party starts, and the cake sits there, and that guest maybe leaves their drink and doesn't come back for half an hour. Well, sometimes that cake walks away because the staff cleans off the table.
I did a wedding last year, and I went up, and the cake's being cut. We did everything we needed to do, and I was like, "Hey, are you going to put our cake over on our table over there?" And the venue said, "No, we don't. The vendors don't get cake." I was like, "What? We don't get dessert?
We don't get cake?"
I was like, "Since when did that trend happen?"
I know that's not a trend that I appreciate.
That's my sugar rush for the rest of my next 3 hours of dancing. So any other final thoughts on either Veils and Cocktails coming up August 29th?
Right.
6 to 9 p.m. at the Boylston Rooms.
Right.
Fall Bridal Show with a fashion show coming up November 3rd, 2024, 11 to 3 at the MassMutual Center in Springfield.
Right.
Any final thoughts about anything else you see happening in the wedding industry?
Just have a conversation.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is
that's great advice.
That, these couples are coming forward, and they have influencing family members too. Bring them, because things have changed even for us in the show, over the 20 years of doing this, things have changed. Budgets have changed, priorities have changed. So try to get those people that are decision makers to come with you and have the conversation.
Yes.
Be open to what the experts are going to ask and what they're going to advise you on, and see if they're the right fit for you. You follow them around all day. You have to have that right fit. The music has to be just right. The food is a huge part of your budget. So all that has to work to what you want.
Got it.
So the conversation needs to be had before you even put the deposit down.
Question for you.
Go ahead.
What advice would you give somebody who has absolutely no idea what they're doing? Whatever age that they are, they've never been married before. What advice would you give somebody that has no idea what they're doing?
I have no hesitation in saying get a planner. Because at least if you have someone to guide you, I mean, they can save you a lot of headache.
Yeah, they really can.
They can advise you on who does what, what's the best logistics, you can do a planner. They can keep you organized. They can guide you,
Yep.
and they're there for you
Yep.
on that day.
Yep.
You hired them.
Yep.
They're your voice.
Yep.
They're your person that's going to say, hey, timeline needs to change a little bit
Yep.
because we're running behind or we're running ahead. Whatever that is,
Yep.
they're hired by you,
Yep.
the couple. So they listen to you.
Deb, I'm going to play the devil's advocate.
Okay.
Somebody who can't afford, it's not in the budget for a wedding planner. What advice would you give them who has no idea what they're doing, but they're going to get married 2025?
Make a list of your priorities and have a conversation not only with your significant
Yeah.
to-be other, but your families.
Yeah.
Where are there family traditions that you want to make? Is there something
Good point.
food-wise that
Good
you want to
point. Yeah.
include? Is there a venue that you've always wanted
Yeah.
to have? Have those conversations within your family.
Yeah.
Make a list. Make a guest list.
Yeah.
Because once you start making that guest list, you'll know what you can
Good
fit
point.
guest-wise
Yep.
into what venue.
Good point.
If you have 150 people and they only accommodate 120, you either cut your guest list or you find another venue.
Yeah, that's great advice.
So
that's great advice.
That is where conversation. It's the name of the game. Conversation. Have a
Yeah.
meeting, because if it doesn't fit, then don't waste your time looking at it, because
Yeah.
it may be something that you really want,
Yeah.
a place you want, but it just doesn't fit
Yeah.
your vibe. It doesn't fit your guest count.
Yeah.
I mean, the guest number
Yeah.
is really going to determine a lot of things. It's going to determine your budget.
Yep.
It's going to determine your style, your seating, your location.
Yeah.
It's
Great
just
advice.
It's
That's
just
great
a
advice.
lot
Yeah.
of things. So I mean, it's okay to fly without a planner.
Yep.
We have there's a list in here of things that you should do on a timeline. We're here to help you.
Yep.
So any guidance that we can do, we put it in a source book, we put it online. It's okay not to have one.
Yep.
But it's always good to have in your back
Yeah.
pocket,
Yeah.
even a day of coordinator.
Yeah.
No,
they're good. Yeah.
a day of, she's there for you.
Yep.
They're there for you. And usually it's more than one.
Yep.
So it's kind of a it's team
Teams,
effort.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're always communicating. They're communicating with the vendor, they're communicating with the couple, and they try to alleviate the stress.
Yeah.
So, I mean, any conversation you can have that makes it easy and fun and inspiring, and I want to get this done and I want to get that done, can you accommodate
Yeah.
this? That is all conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and my big thing is, if you found somebody with a conversation,
Yeah.
book them when you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Don't wait,
Yeah.
because you will get disappointed if your first
Yeah.
choice gets snapped up by
Yeah.
somebody else.
Great advice. Great advice.
That way there, you've got a contract, you've got the initial layout of what you want.
One less thing you got to worry about. One thing off of your plate.
It's
and then you
written
go in
down,
there. Yeah.
it's signed,
Love it.
it's there. And we have brides, and I've seen it so many times. I've tried to reach my vendor and I can't. Well, the best time to reach a vendor is Tuesday through Thursday, because they're working all weekend.
Good point. Good point.
They're working all weekend, and they take Monday to decompress
Yep.
and in your case, I'm sure, unload everything
Yep.
and get reorganized and work on the wedding that
Yep.
you just completed.
Yep.
Venues, the staff needs a day off. It's usually a Tuesday. So the Tuesday through Thursday is the vendor's weekend, and everything else is, they can't get back to you right away because they're focusing on the wedding at hand.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. So when brides get frustrated and say, I've tried to get a hold of my vendor, well, they're working.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
Yeah.
Don't panic. Just email, text, whatever way that you keep in touch with them, and then be patient.
Be patient. Be patient. That's great advice. That's great advice. Just all
Around,
around.
yes.
Yeah. Don't be frustrated. Just be patient, and everything's going to fall into place. If you have to pivot on something that you wanted to do and you can't do, then figure out another way to do it, or just.
But if you plan ahead, you have that option.
You have
of
the option.
more options
Yeah.
available to you to pivot to.
Yeah.
If
Correct.
you wait too long.
Yeah.
And not to say that it's a bad thing. I mean, we've seen brides walk into, bridal salons, and they're getting married in 6 months, and they pick the dress off the rack, and that's not their priority.
Yeah.
Their priority is just, I just want to get everybody together.
Yeah.
Or I just want to have some really good food.
Yeah.
And a nice party.
Yeah.
However they figure it out that they want to do, that's okay too. But expect a little more disappointment and expect a little bit more challenge.
Sure.
by waiting too long, because those particular vendors
Yeah.
will already be booked, and you'll
Yeah.
have to go to, others.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that is a point that I, as a vendor, I can't say to a bride and groom, you need to book early because I might not be available next week. It comes off as being, too pushy and things like that.
Too salesy. Nobody likes
exactly.
to do that
Nobody
stuff.
likes that.
Right.
But it is the truth. It is the truth of the matter that if you fall in love with somebody that you like, book them right away. Book them. Don't wait 2 weeks to get back to them for just a meeting and stuff like that, because that date could be gone by the time that date comes around. So the truth of it is, find the ones you want to get involved with and you want to be part of your day. Book them early. That way if you wanted the best of these 5 vendors and 3 are already booked, now you get the 2 that you want. Now you got to pivot to plan B to find some other place to. So it's the truth of the matter is, and at the bridal show, everything's there. Everything's in the room. Everything's in the room.
Everybody's got their calendar. Everybody's got, dates available.
It's right there. We know
Things
what's
are
available.
right
If we're
there.
not, I was like, you know what? 3 booths down, another photographer there, great guy. Go check him out over there.
Right.
And it's all about community over competition when it comes to that.
And our vendors are good for that. So.
Wedding Source book is free. Correct me.
Right.
It is free, so you can get it online.
Right.
Are they in print anywhere to be picked up anywhere?
When we go to print, we drop off at some of the bridal shops that
bridal
shops.
Okay.
Photographers like this great location that you have here.
Yeah.
Venues, any venue
Venues
that,
can have them
that
also?
wants them also.
Okay.
Where some of the books go out in like little packages, like a welcome package.
Got it.
But it's available online. So,
Good.
I mean, you don't have to go rushing to find one.
Correct.
It's 24/7. It's online.
Yeah.
We send out a new.
And somebody. Okay.
Yeah,
so somebody
you can.
okay.
It's on a site. It's very
on the
interactive.
website. Got it.
Yeah, and what we do with that is the events that we go to and things that we do, we have a newsletter that goes out about every 6 weeks. It'll have vendor spotlight, what's coming up, if there's a tasting or a dress sale or anything like that, we're like sending it out as soon as we know, we include it.
Yeah.
And so it's a big email newsletter that goes out to hundreds of people that we've met over the year. So that way they're abreast of what's going on.
Nice.
And they can still go, I don't need that, but I'm going to go to the sale instead. You know?
Fair enough.
And that's fun because, I mean, they've never done this before.
Yeah.
So if we give them more information, they'll feel more confident about what they're purchasing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big purchase. It's like buying your first car, your first home. You have to ask those questions.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what to ask, then sometimes you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
Those options are off the table because you didn't ask the right questions.
Yeah. And if you have not done it before and you don't know, then a lot of people have done it before and gotten married before and they're doing it again. And now they just want to do it completely different.
Exactly.
And I think that's amazing in itself also. It's not, just what did you do differently and do something differently where I've had people say all my emphasis was on the food, which was great, but we didn't get as many good images as we want. So now we want to focus on photography. Or we didn't have that good of we did a playlist on our phone. That's a no-no. Get a professional DJ.
I was going to say, did you just say that?
And now we want to hire somebody because nobody was dancing. So now they want to have people on the dance floor and having a good time.
Right.
So
I mean,
that's important.
there are definitely some main things that you need to be, concerned. I don't even want to say concerned, but prioritize on your list. You and like photographers, videographers, that is memories.
Yeah.
That's all about, I want to look back at this in 10 years or whatever. You have those.
Yeah.
Good food is kind of important.
Yep.
And a good party is important. Whether you're in a tent or at a ballroom, it doesn't really matter as long as the party's good.
Correct.
Like things are moving, everyone's dancing, mom's happy, they got their first dance in, everything's good, then it's a good party.
Yeah.
Don't do the phone playlist. Don't do, and any good DJ MC person will guide you through how things work. And they'll work hand in hand with your photographer and your videographer and the catering staff. I mean, to keep things on like a schedule so that you have the time to dance and cut the cake and, thank grandma for coming and all, and see maybe people you haven't seen in a couple months. Yeah. That's all in the schedule and that's all conversation. So it's just kind of like comes back to, you know, have we talked about this? Yes, we're going to do this, this, and this. Does the DJ know? Does this? Everybody's on the same page. It flows.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love
Yep,
it. Okay.
it's good.
Thank you for coming on the channel. I
Thank you
appreciate
for having
that,
me.
for your advice. Your heartbeat bleeds for Western Massachusetts, and that's
Yeah.
what we are. So mark your calendars for August 29th, 2024, Boylston Room, 6 to 9 p.m. November 3rd, 20th anniversary of the Fall Bridal Show coming up at the MassMutual Center, 11 to 3. And all the information we're talking about is going to be down below. Don't forget to go get your wedding source book in print someplace if you want it, or if you want it online, the information will be down below. So thank you guys for coming back to the channel. Thank you, Felisa, for joining me. So that's it. Peace.